Hello everybody and welcome to episode 10 of Broadcast UGC. I'm Galactrix and I'm here with my co-host Bazag.
Hello everyone.
Hello, and we also have guests on tonight. We've got AliMac30 and
Hello everybody, call me Ali.
Yep, and we've got AdmiralMurphy again. Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you. Good to be back.
Yep.
Yeah, so this week we're doing Ali's City of the Polmar Ree.
Oh, that's a great mission.
Yes, and I haven't played it yet, and neither has Bazag. I think the only one that's played it out of us is AdmiralMurphy, because you played it for Foundry Files, which was on this week as well, wasn't it? Didn't you?
Yep, that's the mission we reviewed this week.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty popular among the podcasters. I mean,
Yeah,
we
it
did
seems to be going on.
a Bitesize UGC last week. Podcast UGC are doing it this coming week. Well, Have did a bit.
It was like a mini thing.
Yeah, but they're doing a proper one next week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else will be playing it.
Yeah, it seems to be in the limelight at the moment. What do you think about that, Ali?
Oh, it's great, I'm just so happy that people enjoy it. And the Foundry Files review was great, really awesome. So thank you guys for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't managed to beat Ramak Noor. How disappointing.
You missed it by 0.01 points, and I was like arguing, like, no way. Like when I finished the mission, I was like, oh, I seriously think he topped it. It's like, nope, missed it by 0.01.
Okay.
All right, well, shall we get started?
Yes, let's get started. Are you going to read this dialogue, Bazag?
We've got a hail from Admiral Marconi, so I'll just read it out. Good day, Captain. I'll get right down to business. What do you know of the Polmar Ree?
Only what I learned at the academy, sir.
Indeed. Well, let me give you a refresher. The Polmar Ree are an ancient race who fled the Milky Way galaxy eons ago. Highly technologically advanced, they now live in an extragalactic space city they built to house their entire species. They make contact with our galaxy once every 216 years, inviting every sentient species to go and visit them through a number of transient wormholes. It's that time again, Vice Admiral. Planets all over the galaxy have received the Polmar Ree signal, and the Federation Council has formally accepted the invitation on behalf of the Federation's member worlds. I'm assembling a task force of 6 starfleets in the Donatu system, and I'd like the ship to be a part of it. The task force will proceed to one of the transient wormholes in the proximity of rogue planet 46 WHDR, several light years from Donatu. The task force will travel through the wormhole to the city of the Polmar Ree.
Thank you, sir. This is a tremendous opportunity.
Make the most of it. I think every captain in the fleet hopes to meet the Polmar Ree one day. When you reach the Donatu system, rendezvous with the USS Kelso, one of our diplomatic and peacekeeping ships. She will be leading the task force to the wormhole. Good luck, Vice Admiral. Marconi out.
Okay, so now we are able to enter the system and go to the city of the Polmar Ree. Okay, sensors show that task force is in orbit of Donatu 5, taking us in.
So, trying to think of a question to fill up this empty space while the map loads.
Oh yeah, it's
Well,
always...
let me just tell you. Let me just tell you about the USS Kelso. Somebody messaged me again and asked whether that was a reference to. I think there was a minor character in TOS called Kelso, Lieutenant Kelso, maybe.
sounds
which I'm
familiar.
ashamed to say I didn't know that. So it wasn't a reference to him. It was reference to a small town in the Scottish borders where I spent my holidays when I was a little boy.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Kelso. Yeah, Kelso is a town in the Scottish borders.
Do you do that often in your missions? Put in name references to things that are relevant to you?
Yes,
Because
lots.
there were a lot of there were a lot of names that, in Spirits of Ramagnor that I was thinking, is that part of Star Trek or is that something else?
It was probably mostly personal, to be honest.
Okay, we've reached
Okay,
some...
do you want to read this, Admiral Murphy?
Yeah. So do you pronounce this as Tamati? Right?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
All right. This is Captain Tamati Doan of the USS Kelso. Welcome to the Polmar Ree Task Force, Vice Admiral. Now that you're here, I'd like to set course for the wormhole immediately. We're transmitting the coordinates to you now. We have Ambassador Samil Ragan aboard. He'd like to speak with you and your senior officers. Ambassador Reagan will be leading the Federation diplomatic delegation to the Polmar Ree. He's been meeting with all the captains in the task force. If you wouldn't mind, Vice Admiral, he would be pleased to meet with the ambassador here on the Kelso while we travel to the wormhole. I'm anxious not to delay our departure. A word of advice, though. The ambassador is a particular old soul. He can be opinionated and cantankerous, but he's the most experienced person we've got to meet the Polmar Ree. The ambassador made it clear he didn't want to be cooped up in any damned meeting room, so he's waiting for you in our arboretum. Please beam directly there. Understood.
Course is laid in for the wormhole. The task force is standing by to engage at Warp 9 as soon as you've beamed aboard the Kelso. The away team reports ready for transport. I think someone else better bring a bridge officer along, because mine are only lieutenants.
It probably won't matter, because this is, so much.
Yeah, I heard that it was quite...
let me bring a
free.
medic.
Yeah, ground combat's not till later on.
Okay, we're just waiting on, Ali.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, there we go.
So I've heard lots of great things about the Arboretum you've created here.
Oh, it's awesome.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to build the Arboretum? Because it looked like it took a while.
It probably took about 3 weeks, I think.
Jeez.
Although
Wow.
I work full time, so it's not like I was working on it all day, every day for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah. But in your free time, you would work on this, right?
Just in the evenings and weekends and stuff. But I started building it before season 4, so when you see it, I'm going to explain why that was such a pain.
So
it was
the map that has all the Easter eggs in it, isn't it? Or is there a different one?
No, it does have some Easter eggs, so
Yep.
we may have to go and see them, yeah.
So apparently I missed a staircase that was around here. Oh, here, I see it. I jumped off the ledge last time, and I was like, oh, there was the staircase? Oops.
Let's go and talk to the guy, and we'll come back and do some exploration. Though for an arboretum, it looks very much like a actual full proper environment, as you might.
Well, the idea of this was that the arboretum is housed inside the big sort of glass, well, not glass, but transparent sphere that you have at the front of that ship, that science ship that has the big sphere at the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always wondered when I saw that what that was necessarily for, and I like that the idea of like that's an arboretum on the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just read some information about that, and it tells you that this is the giant glass sphere with an eye. It does look like an eye.
It does.
Yeah, so this is one of the little sort of decoration type touches. It's kind of an Easter egg, though it's not particularly hidden. So it's just a sort of decoration touch. Component complete, of course, so this wasn't working for a long time.
Mm.
And then, yeah, another one over here. But,
So that thing was supposed to be an eye, and there's a reference there to it being donated to the Arboretum from the Ishikawa Botanical School, which is a reference to Keiko. Keiko O'Brien, whose maiden name was Ishikawa, and she was a botanist, of course.
Yep. So yeah, the squirrel plant, Caro fructose. So did you actually find these plants in like Memory Alpha or something, or did you make them up?
No, I totally made these up. They're just supposed to be in-jokes, really. So the I on the other side, that was just a little reference to Keiko. And this one, of course, is a reference to Syrup of Squill, which was mentioned in an episode of DS9.
Oh, that's
So this is
cool.
the squill plant. So they take the syrup from these pods on the plant.
Yes, the fructose is a sugar, so
It is, yeah.
yeah. And there we go. Okay. You must be captain. What do you make of this? An entire forest wobbling through space inside a giant transparent bubble stuck to the front of a starship. Do you think somebody at Utopia Planatia sat at the drawing board and just thought, what do you say? We'll take the pond with us.
Perhaps
So that's a little
Ambassador.
reference to DS9.
Ah.
So in Emissary, the first episode of DS9, Jake is fishing on the holodeck, and Ben says to him, what do you say?
Yeah.
We'll take the pond with us.
Ah.
I didn't even pick that up originally. That's awesome.
Perhaps, Ambassador, it is an honor to meet you. Galactrix, you want to take over?
Okay.
Oh, currently Captain P.F. Dennis says Caro is actually corn syrup too.
So
That's
that thing over there. Okay, none of that. I may be almost 1,000 years old, but I care less of title and authority with every passing year. Okay, so...
I'll read this character if you want.
Yep, go for it.
Ambassador, if I call correctly, your age is 112 standard years.
Pah, Vulcans. May I introduce Commander Georgia? She's our observer from Starfleet Intelligence. Once in a lifetime opportunity to leave the galaxy and meet a godlike race, and this lot turned it into an opportunity to spy on friend and foe alike.
As yourself stated, Ambassador, I am here merely as an observer. If your intention is to intimidate suspicion, then I can assure you there is no need. Starfleet would be remiss if it did not use this time to carefully observe the Polmar Ree and the other visiting races as well. And if I am not mistaken, the opportunity to leave the galaxy and meet the Polmar Ree has come twice in a lifetime for you, Ambassador Rogan.
Fine spy she is. All she does is follow me around disagreeing with every word I say. Now, what can I tell you about the Polmar Ree?
I want to know why do they contact us once every 216 years?
Okay. Nobody knows for sure. Plenty of superstition and guesswork, of course. 216 is the product of 3 sixes. Some of old religions of Earth and other planets believe 3 sixes to be the sign of the devil. In contrast, others worshipped a god whose name was said to be 216 characters long. So, are the Polmar Ree gods or devils? I'll let you ponder that one. Mathematically speaking, 216 is a significant number. It's the smallest cube that's the sum of 3 cubes, and it's the sum of a twin prime pair. When the message is received on Trill, it corresponds to every 281st orbit of the planet around its sun. 281 is the sum of the first 14 prime numbers. Mathematics is the universal language, perhaps a way of encouraging responses.
Well, you must have done a lot of for that. I mean, maths and
Yeah.
analysis. That
We got
one.
masked.
We did.
Now, I heard on Foundry files that it was actually to correspond with the WoW signal as well. Is that true?
Yeah,
it did seem like
that's
that.
in one of the other buttons here, I think.
Oh, interesting.
And then it also,
Try
yeah, the timelines exactly match up for it to match when we'll get into a little bit here about Admiral Archer. And it perfectly lines up with the year 2409 then, which was really nice touch.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy how they all sort of match up. Did you plan all of this, or how did you work that out?
Well, the first thing I did when I sort of had the idea for this mission, the first thing I did was write the paragraph that comes up on the mission journal, so it's the first thing that people see. And I think it said once every 200 years, the signal arrives and whatever. And I just started looking around and working with the maps, and I knew that I wanted the Federation to have gone to the Polmar Ree once before, and only once. So, if you go back 100 years, where would that put it? If you go back 200 years, where would that put it? So I didn't want it to be during the time of TNG or the time of TOS necessarily, because, having said that you can go off and visit these people, that's quite a big event. So I didn't want it to damage the canon at all. So I just randomly had this thought, oh my goodness, what if the WOW signal in 1977, what if that was a time that we had received this signal in the past? We didn't know what it was, but it was the first time in recorded history that we'd received this signal from the Polmar Ree. So, 1977 up to 2409, which is when the game is set. So what kind of interval is that? Do I want to divide that into 2 or 3? If you divide it into 2, you get 216 years. So that, working backwards from 2409, that 216 years ago, that puts you after the end of Enterprise, but before the start of TOS. So that's sort of uncharted territory. So you can pretty much tell whatever story you like, and you're not going to mess up the canon in that time, because it's a sort of no man's land where we haven't seen any canon. And then, I started looking into the maths and work out that it's 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Oh, 666, the sign of the devil. Great. That adds sort of
So these pieces just started to fall together.
Yeah, and then you look a bit, I sort of went off and started looking a bit more into the religious aspects of this number, and I read that in some teachings of Judaism, they said that the full name of God was 216 characters long. So you've got devils, you've got gods, you've got the WOW signal. That just sings. That just totally works. So it became pretty obvious pretty quickly that 216 was the number that I was going to use.
Yep. So can you just sum up the information for us that is provided?
Yeah, it's probably quite a bit to read here, isn't it? So shall I give you the abridged version, and then we can go explore the Arboretum bit.
Sounds good.
So he's going to tell you that the Polmar Ree are an ancient race. They lived in the Milky Way galaxy at one time. They were around at the same time as the Preservers and the Takon, these ancient races that we've heard about in the Trek canon. They didn't get on particularly well with their neighbors. All of the various galactic powers were fighting and so on, just as the current powers do. And during the end days of all of those empires, the Polmar Ree, rather than be wiped out, they decided to leave the galaxy. So they packed up their entire race and enough resources that they would need to survive elsewhere, and they pointed their ships directly upwards and just flew up and out of the galaxy, about 170,000 light years, just on the edge of the Magellanic Clouds. So they built a city, so they now live in this city outside the galaxy, beyond the galactic barrier. And once every 216 years, they invite every species in the Milky Way galaxy to come and see them through a series of wormholes.
All right, so we'll finish that up, and there's the Vulcan Starfleet intelligence check again. Vice Admiral, it would be amenable to you, and if it would be amenable to you and your crew, I would like to request passage aboard your vessel.
Of course, Commander. I think she's sick of my complaining. Nice to meet you. I'll contact you again once we reach the Polmar Ree city. There's bound to be some sort of reception, and I want all the task force captains to meet the Polmar Ree and the other visiting races. You'll never forget this, I promise you that. Oh, and
What I
incidentally...
really like about this character
Uh-huh.
is that he's been here to Polmar Ree before, and I thought that was a really nice touch, because you wouldn't expect, with this big gap, a person to have been there before.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention that when I was pre-seeing the information there.
Yeah,
So he's a trail. He's a joint trail, and the symbiont, one of the previous hosts of the symbiont, went to visit the Polmar Ree last time, so 216 years ago. Admiral Archer was in command of that mission, and they took one of the old NX class ships through a wormhole to meet the Polmar Ree. So yeah, this ambassador, he's been there before.
There aren't any other races that can do that, can they?
No, I'm just looking at this wheelchair you got him on. It's how many pieces did you make it out from?
It's only 4 pieces actually. So there's the chair in the middle. There's a canister behind him, which I used because it has a kind of handrail on the back, which I thought you could use to push him around. But also the canister bit, it sort of has these blinky lights and stuff on it. And I thought, well, the guy is 812 years old. He probably needs some kind of life support or something. So that's the life support module at the back there. And then there's 2 wheels, so it's just the chair, the canister, and 2 wheels, which is 4 objects. But there isn't a wheel object to use, so that's a lamp.
It looks really close to it, though.
Yeah, it's just one of the lamps, and you sink it down into the ground far enough to hide the the stalk or whatever of the lamp. So we just have this round bit.
That's clever. Okay, well, I lost that previous dialogue window, so I've got a new one here. I've got a new one here. It says, your combat chirps. This is Captain Don to all task force ships. We've arrived in the proximity of the Polmar Ree wormhole. Could all visiting personnel please return to their ships and begin making preparations to enter the wormhole? Good luck and Godspeed.
Ship to Captain. We've locked onto your position and are ready to energize on your command.
Okay, Commander Georgia will be joining us.
Not now. Not now. We want to go and explore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. Well, we'll leave it up ready for when we do. Decline.
Can we decline? Yeah, okay.
Oops, I didn't decline. I'm going.
Oh, and you've got the live stream.
Yeah, I'm the one with the stream. Oh, dear.
Oh.
No. I guess we'll have to move on.
Well, technically, I could probably come out and then come back in again, but... Unless
I guess the player, when they go through this, will have to check all this stuff out there. Because it's definitely worth checking out.
So we'll move on to Galactrixes then.
Yeah, so if you guys are watching, if you do play the mission, there's quite a few Easter eggs hidden around the Arboretum that you can go find. So you can just hit V and do a scan, and that'll direct you to the nearest interactable console, and you can find the various Easter eggs.
Cool. How many are there, just roughly?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there are 6.
Oh, geez, I only found like 2, I think.
There you go. Well, we don't want to reveal every one of them to everybody, so it's probably a good thing that we moved on. Don't want to
spoil task force ships. Sensors are picking up a large Klingon fleet between us and the wormhole, led by a Klingon flagship, the RKS Malga. Approach the wormhole, but do not engage the Klingons. Remember, this is a mission of exploration and diplomacy. Let's hope they have the same intention.
Now, what I do really like that you did here is that I thought that the previous map in the transition was to make up for the fact that you couldn't use the wormhole, because until I saw this map, I didn't think you could ever use the wormhole, which when I was making my missions up, because I needed the wormhole to get out of our galaxy to go to the Antonini galaxy, I was like, oh, I can't place my own.
DS11.
So I was really glad you found that.
Yeah, so it's just the DS9 system map. And that big red planet over there on the left, that's just to cover up the deassigned station. Because the wormhole and the deassigned station, they're both part of that map. You can't delete them. So I had to just cover
I never thought of covering it with a planet, though. And so I was like, oh, geez, that's such a great idea.
Yeah, and then when you get to the other end, there's another planet to cover it up again. And I just slipped in a really cheesy bit of dialogue to try and cover up the fact that there's
that was a
planet
nice
there.
touch, though. I know we were all like, that's a great way to just tie in this workaround into the story.
Yeah, I'm quite OCD, as you probably noticed from my missions. So I couldn't just let it slip that just let it go by that there was a planet there. I had to explain it.
There you go. I can see the wormhole. So cool.
So we've got some questions by the Vulcan chick.
Okay, who was reading that one? I think it was Murphy.
The fucking chick.
The Vulcan chick.
Vice Admiral is not able to be completely honest with you during our meeting with Master Rogan. Oh. Starfleet intelligence believes the Klingons are planning to launch an attack on the Polmar Ree. An attack of what sort we do not know, but I would like you to join me in attempting to find out.
So it's some kind of mission here.
Why hide this from the ambassador?
Master Rogan is a strong supporter of the Klingon Empire, and one of his former hosts was a member of the House of STOked. He is one of very few members of the Federation granted special dispensation by Chancellor Jempok to travel freely within the Klingon Empire during the current war. Given his political persuasion toward the Empire and the importance of this mission, I felt it was unwise to distract the ambassador with additional concerns while we were met with the Polmar Ree.
Okay, so why would they attack such a powerful race, or what evidence do you have, or what do you need me to do?
I'll have the why have they attacked such a powerful race? I'm not certain of their motives. The Klingons have become increasingly aggressive and territorial since Jempok became Chancellor of the High Council. It is possible they see the Polmar Ree as a threat that must be eliminated.
I think I'll read the evidence one. I'm not at liberty to share information about our sources, Lieutenant Commander. It is under Starfleet Protocol 247 Alpha that I must ask for the assistance of your vessel on this matter of extraordinary Federation security. Okay. Was that a 47 reference there on purpose? Oh.
It was, yeah.
Yes. I look out for those. Okay, so what do you need me to do is the last option, so...
Please perform a sensor sweep of the Klingon vessels near the wormhole. Look for anything unusual, heavy armaments, transphasic and chronoton torpedoes, tricobalt warheads, as well as thoron fields and uranium shadows that may be masking stockpiles of weapons.
Sir, sensors show a big Klingon fleet out there. They outnumber us 4-1. They may interpret our scan as an act of aggression. What do you suggest? We could keep our distance and scan them using a standard sensor sweep of the system. They will detect our scan and may react badly if they think it's unusual. Alternatively, I could initiate a low-intensity scan that would be undetectable to them, but we would need to get up close to the Klingon ships for our sensors to get any readings. If we get too close, they'll lock weapons on us. If we take some precision it would take some precision flying. So keep distance or get close.
Hmm.
Now, did you guys test out these different options on Foundry files?
I know we definitely did. I don't know which ones the we Irish and Bridger did, but I did the keep our distance one when I originally played through.
So
well,
let's
do the that gets up close then, and then you can compare.
Then Murphy can compare.
Fleet. Very well. We'll need to be within 15 kilometers of the Klingon ships before I can initiate the scan. Well, we should not get any closer than 10 kilometers, or they may attack. Advise a slow approach.
Okay, so I'm just going to let one of you guys do it, because if we all go, we might trigger the things.
Okay, initiating scan.
Okay, it's the Klingon woman. Does anyone want to read that one? Or should I try?
Well, firstly, I got a scan completed thing. I did not detect anything out of the ordinary on those Klingon ships. Unless, what if it was the ships themselves? They could ram directly into the Polmar Ree space city, causing massive destruction. Like a kamikaze attack. Vice Admiral, I doubt that kind of strategy would be effective. Vulcan Science Council records from previous visits to the Polmar Ree indicate that the space city has extremely advanced phasic shielding, subspace refraction deflectors, and defensive repulsion beam technology. It is highly unlikely that any Starfleet would be able to ram into the city, even if the ship jumped to warp. The Klingons would know this as well.
In which case, Commander Georgia, we cannot find anything to substantiate your suspicion that the Klingons are planning an attack. Sir, the Kelso is ordering us to proceed into the wormhole without delay. Okay, and there was this dialogue...
So when I did the long-range scan...
Klingon woman... So you did the long-range scan as well, and that's why the Klingon woman's on the screen at the same time?
No, I think that was the first tab.
Because I've got this Klingon woman on the screen, I don't know. Has anyone else got this?
Yeah, she came up for me. It was just a warning that we shouldn't get any closer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just press end transmission on there, Galactics.
So when I did the long-range scan last time, I was engaged by a Klingon ship for being detected. So I believe that's what happened last time. So doing this one, we avoided the little space combat that happens if you get too closer.
Yeah, so there are actually 3 routes through this map. If you go the distance routes, one of your boss says that they're projecting a series of holographic beacons, so these beacons appear and you follow them into the wormhole, and while you're following them you perform the scan, but the Klingons detect it and they think you're up to no good, so they attack you. The second route is to get up close, and then what happened to us is that we got close enough to do the scan, and that was fine, so we completed it, and then we proceed to the wormhole. But if you get too close, then again they attack you. So there are actually 3 routes to that map.
Nice.
Okay, so I mapped the wormhole so it can take us in.
Okay.
So, do you like just using these fairly short maps in terms of limited actual story objectives? And
It's
yes,
kind of,
what appeared I see you.
It just these short maps. I don't know how good it is really to use short maps that only have maybe one objective on them or something that's a reach marker. But I'm quite OCD about all this, and I don't like to just jump the player around without them actually traveling. So I just have to have the story flow properly, so you have to sort of get to the system and go past the Klingons and get to the wormhole. So there's not much to do, but it's the way that it would happen if it was an episode. So for good or bad, I put in these maps that just get you from one place to the other.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay.
Now, does anyone know who first used that technique where you put the DS9 wormhole there and you cover up DS9? Because I don't think this is the first time I've heard about it. It seemed like
yeah, I've heard of it one time before. I can't remember who it was either, or the mission, but I do remember hearing about it once before.
Did you hear about it as well, Ali, or did you come up with it on your own?
No, I'd never heard of it. I just know that I wanted to use a wormhole, and the only way to do that is to use the DS9 map. The 2 annoying things about that map are that you can't delete the DS9 station, so you have to cover it up somehow. And the other thing is that the wormhole just appears and disappears on a timer. You can't control sort of the appearance and disappearance of the wormhole, and you can't have the player fly up to it and trigger it as if they were sort of crossing the event horizon. So that's a bit annoying. So you can get to the end of that map and click take us in, and then you just fly, you just warp into space, and the wormhole isn't there. It sort of breaks the immersion bit. But never mind.
So, just out of curiosity, if you were to do a high-intensity scan, do it from the distance, would you get the same result from the scanning?
You get the same result from the scan, but you get attacked by the Klingons because they detect the high-intensity scan and they don't like it, so they attack you.
Okay, this is a interestingly designed city.
Yeah, these claw-like things spiraling down the map. They look really impressive. Are they part of a thing which you have to build piece by piece, or are they just made like that?
No, I had to build it all piece by piece. It's the riser satellite. That's the tall claw-like thing, and the sort of three-pronged thing in the middle is I think it's a Herosian weapons satellite or something.
I think it's Undine. But so each of those little pieces is a riser station.
Yeah, each of those things is a riser satellite.
So this map would be at its object limit, pretty much.
It's not actually, surprisingly.
It's not.
Okay, well, we've got a report from our science officer we should probably read out.
Yep.
You want me to read this one, James?
Yeah, go for
change
it.
it up.
Okay. This is extraordinary, sir. We're no longer in the Milky Way galaxy. The computer is measuring Cepheid variables from the visible galaxies in order to triangulate our exact position. I'm conducting a sensor sweep of our immediate vicinity. The planet is exactly the same as the rogue planet at the other end of the wormhole, and I do mean exactly the same, identical down to the molecular level. It must be artificial. Perhaps an anchoring point for the wormhole. Or perhaps it's covering up a station.
Yeah.
And as for the space city, sensors are not able to resolve the total number of structures. Many appear to be phase-shifted slightly out of reality, perhaps by an advanced form of shielding. Some of the architectural design is familiar. Previous visits to this place may have influenced a number of the species in our galaxy. Or perhaps there was just a limited number of objects available in the Foundry.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, the city contains at least several billion life forms, presumably the entire extant population of Polmar Ree. And then the attack. So, I'm detecting thousands of starships from visiting races. The Klingons have followed us through the wormhole, 20 ships in total. Many of the ships on sensors are of unknown origin, but there are some familiar faces. The Romulans, Deferi, Cardassians, Herosian, a Dominion warship with a Jem'Hadar escort, several Vidian ships, a Gomtu. Wait, there are more. A Dosai transport, a Sheliak merchantman, a Tholian assembly ship, a Tosk Star Runner, several ships from the Nyberite Alliance, and 3 frigates from the Kazon Ogler, and a Ferengi trader. The Ferengi ship is bombarding communication channels with a jingle advertising official Polmar Ree replica clothing and commemorative plates. It's like it's a convention.
Yeah, the Tosk Star Runner. DS9 was perhaps one of the first actual television series that I saw.
Yeah.
And
Tosk was the first alien to come through the
wormhole.
DS9 wormhole from the Gamma Quadrants. Okay, any signs of trouble? No signs of trouble, sir. Absolutely nothing. All these races and all is calm. I never thought I'd see it. Indeed. And then the engineering officer. We've received a pulse transmission from the space city. The message provides coordinates for 20 beam-down points where we can transport away teams to the interior of the city. The city comprises a series of circular arrangements, each with a 3-armed structure at its center. Each 3-armed structure acts as a beam-down point. Confirmation from the Kelso, this is exactly how the USS Discovery was greeted 216 years ago. We've been allocated a beam-down point. We're to proceed there and begin transporting representatives to the city. And then a bit of mission info that says, use your map to navigate to the allocated beam-down point. And then in block cuts, I've got hint, you may have to fly downwards to find it.
Right.
Oh,
This
really?
was because I got some 1 stars and so on in the reviews and game to say I couldn't find the beam down point, epic fail, you know. So I added in the little hint about you may have to fly down there.
Yeah, well, considering that the object is the beam down point, it makes sense to me that you'd have to, you know, go to the object.
Oh, somebody's there already.
Yep. I'm in a Defiant. I'm flying for quite fast.
That's the thing, though. You got to be wary about some players. They just don't think about the maps three-dimensionally, like going up and down as well, because I don't know, maybe they're not used to it, because in cryptic missions things are quite, you know, easy to find.
They're probably genetically engineered like Khan.
I mean, within the range of the beam down point, so we can start beaming to the city immediate.
So Iris has just put in the Starbase UGC chat. He'll mention any of you guys on STOked if you managed to get me killed during the mission. Just throwing it out there.
Wow.
So, do you reckon a group event? We start the fights and then leave Murphy to the alone?
Could do, but I heard that the groups aren't particularly difficult, or are they? I'd probably be the one to die first because I'm only a lieutenant commander, and they're probably VA level.
No, this mission is really combat light, and it's quite easy combat as well.
Well, if you're not leveling up to Vice Admiral 1, you should anyway.
Okay, do you want me to read this bit?
Yeah, you can go, Ellie.
Okay. Welcome. We are the Polmar Ree. Please make your way down from the materialization platform. You are our guests, and we welcome you to our home. Explore our halls, exchange knowledge and understanding, and forge new friendships. There is much to learn and nothing to fear.
So I think everybody who sees this map, their first question is, like, what made you design this map in this way? Because it looks like it took an extremely long time to just construct. Like, when we first saw this, we're like, yep, we can see why it took 4 months to build, because this is just huge.
Yeah,
multiple levels.
Yeah, it almost looks like one of MCS's paintings.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does look like that. Or the room at the end of Labyrinth, the 80s.
Oh yes.
Where she's running up and down the stairs and stuff. It is big, and a lot of the maps in this mission are big, and a lot of the time you're sort of up high and you can see down quite a long way, or you can see up quite a long way. And it was all about making it feel big and making it feel epic. Because the premise, you know, once every 216 years we get contacted by this powerful ancient extragalactic race. We leave the galaxy and go and meet them. I mean, that's a pretty epic concept, and you have to sell that. You know, the mission has to sell that epic feeling. So I had to make the maps big and make them feel epic.
Wow, these looks certainly interesting.
Little creatures here. You guys, look at these adorable little creatures. The Polmar Ree call them the Lukes. The Universal Translator can't seem to make sense of their language, so I have no idea what the little blighters are saying, and vice versa, I'm sure. But they certainly are keen. Anyway, welcome to the City of 1,000 Races. Formal talks with the Polmar Ree start later, but in the meantime, this is a chance to get to know some people. Make yourself at home, talk to people, exercise your diplomatic skills, mingle, and for the sake of our very souls, have some damn fun. Starfleet never has any fun anymore.
Yes, Ambassador, I will try.
Oh, and speaking of never having fun, that pointy-eared meddler Commander Georgia walked by several minutes ago. She beamed over from your ship with one of the first away teams, and she's anxious to talk with you. I suppose you'd better go find her. But be careful of that one, hmm?
What do you mean?
Starfleet intelligence, a bunch of professional spies and snoops. It's her job to be underhanded, and just you remember that. Have you stopped to wonder why she's getting close to you on this mission? Does she trust you more than she trusts anyone else here? Or does she need somebody who won't ask too many questions? Let me tell you something. It's very widely held misconception that Vulcans never lie. But their only master is their own internal sense of logic. And if dishonesty seems like the most logical path, then they'll lie to you, believe me.
I'm starting to get suspicious of this Vulcan.
That was the intention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the results of the scan do seem to suggest that, she's not...
Nothing's going on.
That she's misplaced in her assumptions. So,
Yeah, I was hoping to make that feeling. I wanted people to think, well, can I really trust this woman or not?
Mm-hmm.
Let's thanks the ambassador for advice.
Okay.
I did read in one of the ambient chat here we go, Captain Nog. So is the I thought he was meant to be a commander at of the E on the E at this point.
Oh, is he? I wanted to reference Nog because he's one of my favourite characters in the whole of Trek.
Nog was awesome.
Yeah.
But I sort of searched for a while to try and find if there were any references to him in the STO canon as opposed to the Trek official canon. I couldn't find any references, so I just shoved him in there. But so is he a commander on the E? Is that?
That's
sure?
what I remember from one of those little bits of information that comes up on the loading screen.
Oh, okay. Well, guess what? He just got promoted. He's
Yeah. You never know
Good
what
old
happens to
Nog.
the E now, anyway. The E's history.
Yeah, it
Nog
says here on Memory Alpha. Yeah, he's working on the Enterprise E as the chief engineer here.
Okay. Oh, well. I want Nog to be captain of the F. They should totally do that.
Wow, when somebody suggests that, I was like, oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, they've got to do that, and they've got to get Aaron Eisenberg in to voice it. He's such a guy.
Interesting, there's a Defoe diplomat that doesn't have all his health.
Uh-oh.
Where?
Well,
Yeah,
he used to care.
Just here.
Must have fallen
I
off
put
the
all these...
ceiling or something.
Well, these are all... I ran out of contacts because you can only have 25 on a map, and there were loads of people here, so they were all reskinned Federation groups, and they were all set on the Y coordinate relative to absolute zero at the same height, but some of them seem to drop and lose some health, so I don't know why. But there we are.
Walking around here, there's just so many different species around here, so it does make it look like species from around the galaxies is coming together here. And that's some really nice touch, especially ones that you don't even know. Like I'm standing by like this purple alien that I don't even recognize it. It's definitely a new life form.
There was a Bethian or something before. Oh, and make way for the founder.
Oh, that's the water, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had lots of fun in the costume creator, just creating weird aliens and giving them silly names as well.
Jobson. Johnson. Appleby.
Now, I know if you talk to the Polmar Ree person over here, you get a whole bunch of dialogue, optional dialogue, just about the Polmar Ree, and I believe it also answers like a couple questions like why did they choose 216 years and stuff like that. So
yeah, you get hopefully a pretty full explanation of who they are and what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's a lot of text, so maybe we won't read it here, but I dreaded writing this because again, it's the whole epic setup of this mission and the whole epic setup of this race. And then I thought, well, I can't have the player arrive at the city and not get the chance to talk to them. That would be such a cop-out and such a letdown. So you've got to have a chat with Polmar Ree. But then I had to write some dialogue that would sell the whole concept and would explain who they were and how powerful they were and what they were doing. So I had a good try. God knows if I nailed it. Murphy, what did you think? Did it Were you disappointed when you read that, or did it sort of...
No, I thought it answered some of those questions really well. Like, those questions I had. Like, I think if I wasn't able to talk to at least one Polmar Ree, I would have been like, oh. But being able to at least talk to one, that was a really nice touch. And I know how you feel with that, because on the mission I'm working on, I'm trying to explain the background of my species, the Antonedians. And I'm having a real tough time trying to figure out how do I deliver that in just like 10 to 15 minutes, probably max.
I do like the style you've managed to create with the force fields.
Yeah, so
I just noticed that.
Again, talking of concepts that were daunting when I was building this mission, building the city, I just thought, oh Christ, what am I going to do that's really going to look epic? And the only idea I had was that it would have a transparent floor with the horizontal force field. So that was my only idea, so that you could look down and think, oh my goodness, I'm really up high. And then when I built the exterior, and the thing I used in the middle of each circle was the three-pronged Undine satellite or whatever it is. So I kind of knew that the interior had to be three arms as well. So I picked that up when I first played. So I just built it with these huge foundation blocks, and I put the force fields in. My God, that took a lot of time to
I can imagine.
It's actually seamless. As you run along, it's completely seamless. But if you get even 0.001, of an overlap, you get a line. You get like it fritzes a little bit. So it took a long time to get those all right. I had spreadsheets and everything with formulae and
wow,
little vector calculation. How much would it move on the X and the Y? And oh God.
Talk with Commander Georgia.
Mm-hmm. But before we do, I just want to say I like the design of the Polmar Ree, how tall and slender they are, and some of the poses with the crossed arms. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know, an Egyptian sarcophagus, how they got their arms crossed in front of them. It's kind of spooky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely look very alien compared to most of the races we've come to know in our galaxy now. But I think that's a really nice touch, because these are a very ancient species.
Okay, so who was reading Commander Georgia again? Was it?
I'll put this down.
Okay.
Do you want me to read her? Because I'm familiar with the text.
Okay, yeah, you can then.
Okay, sorry. So I'm just on the first thing she says. Vice Admiral, or whatever rank. I've been looking for you. That's not very Vulcan. Hang on, let me change my tone. I expect you intend to talk with the Polmar Ree and the other visiting representatives. The button says, Ambassador Reagan has instructed me to mingle. Indeed. This is our chance to gather intelligence on the Klingons' intentions. We must establish whether or not they plan to attack the Polmar Ree.
Okay, so
the options are...
Yeah, 3 options. So which one should we pick? In order?
I chose the scan prove that they were innocent.
Okay.
No, Vice Admiral, the scan did not prove the Klingon vessels are not armed for an attack, only that we were unable to detect any such armaments. Nor did it prove that the Klingons are not planning to take action against the Polmar Ree. Further investigation is required.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Which option are we picking? The ambassador doesn't seem to trust you.
Should we? Yeah, let's choose that one.
Proceed. Okay.
I'll take that one. I fear that that is the case. Ambassador Rogan is a great man with many lifetimes of achievement and experience, but he dislikes anything he cannot control. My work with Starfleet intelligence is, by necessity, secretive. The ambassador has no jurisdiction over intelligence operations, and there is much I have not been able to share with him. My presence on this mission has left him irritated and uneasy. The ambassador's brand of cowboy diplomacy has been a common practice in Starfleet for at least not been a common practice in Starfleet for at least a century. Yet he remains one of our most accomplished and best respected diplomats. He has no patience for bureaucracy, but a fundamental respect for curiosity for alien cultures. His negotiating style is direct, honest, and altruistic. He fights passionately to protect those he sees as underdogs. He may think little of me, but he has my respect, Vice Admiral, and my trust.
How should we proceed?
The ambassador told me that one of the visiting Cleon ships is under the command of General... Alright, I know I brought this up on Foundry Files because I could not pronounce the name for the language. Benej. There we go. Okay, now I feel it's a disruption to my head. I can say his name. Of General Benej, a lifelong friend of Samuel Ragan, and also of Rabbi, the previous host of the Ragan Symbiont. Rabbi Ragan was an honorary member of the House of Noxstock, formerly one of the great houses of the Cleon High Council. General Benej is the current head of that house. Benej is a legendary warrior of the Empire, but his youth is long behind him. His talent for storytelling is almost as famous as his prowess on the battlefield, and of late he has rarely been seen sober. I believe we should attempt to obtain information about the Cleon's plans from him.
How can we get the information?
Oh, why should I trust you?
I clicked on how do we get the information.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Almac?
You want to go ahead and read this one, Almac?
To read this? Okay, I'll
go ahead if you want.
Yeah. Some of the other visiting Starfleet personnel may know of Benej through battle or other means. The same goes for members of the other visiting races. I would suggest, Vice Admiral, that you do as Ambassador Reagan advised and mingle. Listen very carefully to what others tell you. Once you have accumulated sufficient information to mount a convincing bluff, approach Benej and claim to be an old acquaintance. The rest, as they say, will be up to you. Should we do Why Should I Trust You?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not trusting this Vulcan.
Okay, why should I trust you? Your trust in me, although it would be welcome, is not essential. Knowledge is the foundation of logic, Vice Admiral. There is nothing to be lost from learning as much as we can about the Klingons' intentions here. If they plan nothing but diplomacy, then our actions will have served only to reassure us. If, however, they are planning an attack, we may be able to intervene. Logic suggests that you proceed, whether you trust me or not.
Very well. I hope fortune favors the brave. Oh, we've got all these different mingle objectives.
Yeah, so here we are starting on the big puzzle of the mission and the big puzzle of this map, which is, it's just all about talking to people and gathering information, and then eventually you go and approach Benej and he questions you, and so you have to recall various snippets of information that you've read. So it's all really about dialogue, and that is a product of the summer that we had with the Foundry when it was down for long periods. And I couldn't get in there to build, mission mechanics and objectives and so on. So I just sat in a word processor and wrote dialogue. So this, I think it's fair to say that this mission turned out to be far more wordy than I ever expected. This big puzzle is all about words and all about dialogue, but that was because, the Foundry was down so much, and so I just sat and wrote dialogue.
I was listening to a couple of fleet mates of mine. Go Caspian, do this mission, do this bit of the mission through Vent, and well, so I won't, I'll just read out the thing and see if I remember. So I'm speaking to Captain Oz. I'm not sure how you say that at all.
Oh, Oz, yeah, Oz. Oz is actually one of my boss, but I promoted him here to make him captain, so he could feature in this mission. All of my buffs are named after characters from Buffy, so this is Oz. But the thing wouldn't let me have a two-character name, so I had to check the apostrophe and make it 3 characters.
Yeah, I need information about Klingon General Benej.
Unfortunately, I will be unable to help you, Lieutenant Commander, or Vice Admiral. I have heard of the General, of course, but know little of him.
What do you know about the Klingon ships?
20 Klingon ships followed us through the wormhole, a mixture of Klingon, Gorn, and Nautican designs. The flagship of the fleet is the IKS Mauga, under command of General Irani. I believe Captain Hawk of the USS Galaxy may be able to tell you more. He is coordinating Starfleet tactical operations for this mission. Okay, so now we need to look for the Captain of the Galaxy.
I think he's underneath us somewhere.
Yeah, it's
He
somewhere
is.
down there, it looks like.
So, Hawk, that you have to talk to now, is a player from my fleet, Stonewall fleet. We had Stonewall Pride earlier this year, and we had an auction in the cave on Risa. We were
yes, I
auctioning
remember
various
hearing about
things
this.
to raise funds for the fleet so that we could help out members and do crafting and maybe someday build a starbase, that kind of thing. So I offered up for auction the chance for somebody to have their tune featured in my next mission. So Hawk bid 25 million energy credits to be featured in my next mission. That was just
That was a brilliant idea just to get energy credits for the fleet.
Well, he'd played Ramak No and really loved it, so I think he really, really wanted to be in the next one. So 25 million, I thought, oh my god, I'm probably going to have to give him a pretty good part in this mission.
Okay, here's Captain Hawk down here.
I just want to say that blew my mind. I didn't even realize you can come down to the other levels.
Hello, Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral Matthew Hawk, commanding officer of the USS Galaxy.
Okay, so
Tell me about it.
the Galaxy. Yeah.
Let's just, do you want to read this out quickly, Galactrix?
Okay, the USS Galaxy NCC 70637, the first of our class, launched 53 years ago and a testbed for new technologies ever since. Since she cut her teeth in border skirmishes with the Romulans and Cardassians and fought major engagements in the Dominion War, she served in Battle Group Omega for almost a decade and then led Romulan relief efforts after the Hove supernova. She's a pioneer and tough as boots. That's why I chose her as my personal flagship. What about you? What's your story? Have you encountered Klingon General Benej? Or she's quite a nice ship, thanks you for speaking for me.
Let's just see if we can get some information about Benej.
Okay. I've had some skirmishes with Benej over the years. I've faced him down at Battle of Rolor Nebula. Just him and me fighting like dogs for 7 hours. A battle worthy of song, I'm sure. Surprising to see him here, though. His house was removed from the High Council by Chancellor Jumpok, and I figured he wouldn't be given another command. So that's in green text there, Battle of Rolor Nebula, so you better remember that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you might just need that later.
I had my tactical officer do a background check on the 20 Klingon ships that followed us through the wormhole. Seems the High Council has recruited ships from all of the great houses for this mission. From what I hear, Benej is commanding the IKS Yavang. You probably should write that down as well.
I made that mistake last time.
Yeah, I wish there was somewhere we could just write these things down, like in-game. Or...
I believe it's in your communications log, because I think it got cut out of our Foundry file segment, but we covered this puzzle in our gameplay section, and our tip was looking at your communications log to solve this puzzle, because I know a lot of us had problems with remembering all this stuff when it was finally time to put that to use, and somebody goes, check your communications log, all your answers are there.
Alexander... Go, Galactrix.
Which bit?
Oh, I spoke over you, so...
Oh, no, I was just saying that, it's a shame that the communications log doesn't show up the green text. We have to sort of pick it out. And also with all the NPCs speaking around you, it picks up on the chat bubbles as well.
Alexander Rozhenko, that's Wolf's son, I believe. The former Federation ambassador to Konos still represents the House of Martok on the High Council. He would have the authority to choose the commander of the ship they sent for this mission. Benej was the Count Chancellor Martok's inner circle, and perhaps Rozhenko chose him to command the Yavang as one of his last favors to the old man.
Okay, and it says, what do you know of the General's house? Well, thank you, it's a pleasure talking to you. Is the house one of the things we need to learn about? Yeah, we do.
No, it's not. Just say thank you.
No, it's not. Okay,
It's
okay, that's crossed off one of the green thingies now. Learn about ships, so... I guess the other things are from other people.
This is an interesting species over here.
The king...
Okay, apparently all appointments to see the King of Ogremerc have been made, and there's no more left.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not sure. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Judith Tasman?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this lady up here, this is the next one we need to talk to.
Okay, hello, Lieutenant
Do you want me to
Commander.
read?
Okay, I can read it if you want, or you can read it.
Okay, cool, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go right. Hello, Professor Judith Tasman, Starfleet Exo-Anthropology Division. What an incredible opportunity this is. So many races all together in one place. The interactions are fascinating.
What can you tell me about Klingon General Benej?
Benej, the Dahar Master, one of the Empire's greatest living legends, and for good reason. Benej is a formidable warrior. He has a prolific battle record, and an unrivaled streak of 16 consecutive champion standing trophies from the Battle of Tournament of Vorkus 3. He won many hard victories in the Dominion War, and subsequently became a long-serving advisor to Chancellor Martok. Martok and Benej argued bitterly and constantly, but there's no denying the influence Benej had on Martok's chancellorship. Indeed, Martok hailed him as a hero of the Empire, famously stating that good advice often has the sharpest teeth. Benej was a natural successor to Martok as Chancellor, but Jempok had the benefit of youth and an advantage of surprise. By the time Jempok slew Martok and took the Chancellorship, Benej was already too old to mount a plausible challenge. The legend of Benej lived on in the public consciousness, but the man himself has not been so fortunate. He has struggled to find a place in Jempok's empire, and he has increasingly found solace in the bottom of a blood wine barrel. He's suffered the worst possible fate for any hero of the Empire. He's managed not to die.
Thank you for speaking to me.
No, you need the next
Oh, I
one.
need
Yeah, looks like we need the next one.
Yeah. Okay. What do you mean?
Warriors long to die in honourable combat. It's their rite of passage into Stovacor, the Klingon afterlife, and a fitting end to their time as a mortal soldier. A lesser death would be inglorious and bring shame to their house. Benej prevailed over all who challenged him. Until in his twilight years, Jempok's political manoeuvring left him an outcast. He found himself ostracized from the halls of power, an old man with little chance of command and no opportunity to end his life in glorious battle. Yet here he is, once again in command of a bird of prey, thrust out of the galaxy on a mission of diplomacy. I do wonder why Benej would accept this kind of mission. A warrior such as Benej should go out with a bang, and I mean a bang loud enough to rattle the gates of Stovacor itself. Negotiating with the Polmar Ree is hardly a fitting end for a Dahar Master.
What do you know of his military career?
I'm sorry, Lieutenant Commander. I wish I could talk to you all day about Klingons, but I'm due to give a presentation to the Polmar Ree about the last 216 years of the political history of the Alpha Quadrant. I must squeeze in some rehearsal time. Okay, so he's the Dahar Master then.
I've written down Dahar Master Forecast 3. I suppose that bit about the Stovacor was a bit convince you that, yes, something might actually be happening. And that the Starfleet intelligence operative, or aka the Vulcan chick, may actually be telling the truth.
So I do wonder if I might cut that down, because that's very long, that text. But, it was one of the periods when the Foundry was down this summer, and I needed to tell the story of Ben Edge, so I just sat and wrote, and I just really went to town on this guy's story. So, I don't know, I quite like it. I'm going to leave it in unless I get complaints.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of optional dialogue here, and I'm just... Oh, an EMH. Mark 12. Anyway. Liz Devis Miz. Wow, that's quite an interesting name.
Anybody have a good... This character makes me picture of someone doing like a Western accent or something. So does anybody have a really good one?
Oh, my dearest darling, come here. Let me ravish you. Oh, now, that'll sort him. Been giving me the eye all day, he has.
Who has?
The fish man in the tank. Been staring at me all day, the dirty article. Well, he won't be looking no more, will he, my dear? Not if he thinks I've paired off. I'm Liz Desmiz, by the way. You can call me Liz. Now that we've gotten all acquainted, cargo runner for the Klingon Empire and the Gorn Confederacy. No demand is too small, no payment too large.
That's an interesting outfit you're wearing.
Oh, thank you, dearie. Well, you gotta look the part, don't ya? Parts do like this. And see these? Here on my belt. These my little darlings, keeping me safe.
What are they?
Tri-chamber grenades, my dear. Well, you meet some right sorts, don't ya? And I mean people don't have tried on. Don't give me that face. They're not armed. Don't even work, I shouldn't expect. But it keeps people from having to go, don't it?
Do you run cargo to the house of Noxtok?
I do, my dearest. They're one of my best customers, that house. Old General Benerge don't have like his blood wine. A man of taste, though. That one, they only order 2309. That's the good stuff. Why, are you interested in the house of Noxtok anyway?
Yeah, I'd like to meet General Benedge.
If you want to meet him, you'll be needing some blood wine. You don't entertain nobody these days without a barrel of vintage blood wine to wet its whistle.
I will. A pleasure to meet you, Liz.
Okay, so obtain some vintage blood wine to share with Benege.
I suppose we better write down that it's 2309. I do, in DS9 that was mentioned as a really good year too, so I do remember that.
Yeah, they always used to say 2309, there is no finer vintage, so it was the very best one.
So you guys actually might recognize these characters, because I immediately knew that these were from the spirits of Ron McNor, the Ferengi, and this chick you found.
Yeah, the one that stole all the stuff from D Space Nine.
Yep.
But
okay, you're talking to... what's it?
I'll talk to the...
Lulu.
Yeah. Can I get you something, honey?
What liquors do you have?
Well, we have everything from Aldebaran whiskey to Zakdok mead, a cornucopia of delights from across the Milky Way galaxy to tantalize the taste buds and delight the discerning connoisseur. Be it a spicy rum and califal or a soothing Naraltian Civail, a delicate Gamsian wine or a full-bodied Saurian brandy. We have a special something to cater for every taste.
Do you have any blood wine?
Of course, honey. We have a range of vintages priced accordingly. From some of the earliest classics to the newest blends. Which vintage were you looking for?
2309, right?
2309, yeah.
Well, you do mean business, don't you? Oh, sorry, I keep getting some of the, So I must inform you, we only sell 2309 by the barrel. And no offense, honey, but if you're planning to drink that all by yourself, I'd recommend an anti-intoxicant. And you happen to sell a range of them, I presume? Do you want to take this?
Okay, I'll take this. Okay. I don't sell drugs. Too risky. You just don't look like you can hold your liquor. 2309 is strong stuff. Now I know you Federation types don't carry latinum, so perhaps we can settle up in a different way. There are some outstanding warrants or something on boson, and after a little incident on DS9 earlier this year, perhaps you could do something about them?
Do you reckon we should forgive him or credit the account?
Nah, we'll just credit to your account.
How perfectly boring of you. Thank you for your custom.
Now we just need an anti-intoxicant so we don't get drunk. Well,
Okay,
please state the nature of your medical requirement.
Need an anti-intoxicant.
There you go. Now there's enough anti-intoxicant in your system to keep a Klingon sober.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like how that
Now
could replicate stuff straight from, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a default dialogue on the EMH, so when you're not doing the obtain an anti-intoxicant objective, you can talk to the EMH and you get a whole different set of dialogue. And she explains that she's the EMH Mark 12 and she can replicate small drugs and surgical items on demand. It's quite I was totally channeling Robert Picardo when I was writing the dialogue, so if anybody gets a chance to read it, you'll have to let me know if I got him right.
He's been edged with a small barrel beside him, with a blood wine cup on top.
Okay, do you want me to get you through this?
Let me see if I can do it. Okay, so we met him.
Well, I've had some reviews that say it took sort of 7 or 8 attempts to get through this dialogue. So
Yeah, it took me a couple.
Really?
Let's just see how it goes.
Let's just see how it goes. Okay. What do you want?
Okay, so battle. It was what ship was it?
We
it
met
was
battle on the
Hellstorm?
galaxy of the Battle of Roland Nebula.
Yeah, that's Galaxy. A glorious battle. A bottle? I bought a barrel of 2309.
Yeah. Aha, no finer vintage. Let's share it together. But first, tell me, what shall be our toast?
Well, that's
sharp teeth one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't remember. Was that the one he said? Good device has sharp teeth. That's the that reminded me.
Well,
think, yeah.
he's the Harmaster from winning the Focus 3 champion, so I think that's it.
No, but he won 20, not 10.
Oh, he's in 16.
Yeah, it was 20.
Oh, damn it.
Something like that. It was more than 10.
Yeah. Galaxy.
I'm gonna go for sharp teeth.
He's not part of the House of Martok. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not part of the House of Martok.
It's the middle one.
Yep, sharp teeth. You evoke the words of Martok, our greatest leader and my friend. I'll drink to that. So, tell me, what has Ambassador Reagan told you about me? The Harmaster, or you're outcast by Chancellor Gempok, or your military might matches your gift for boasting?
I think the bottom one. That sounds like Rogan.
Oh well, damn it. I got it wrong.
Yeah, it was the bottom one. That sounds like my old friend Rogan. As opinionated and cantankerous as a wild snow tog, he does not censure his words. Okay, 3 options. Ragan
Ooh,
was
this is the one I
glad
got
to
stuck
on.
find you. Ragan was
Yeah,
glad to
he
find you
was
commanding
commanding the Yavang.
the Yavang.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good to be back in command and a good day to die. Let me fill you up. Okay, why do you think I'm here, Lieutenant Commander? To negotiate with the Polmar Ree, to serve Chancellor Jempok, or to go out with a bang? I say go.
I'm going to go out with a bang.
Yeah, same.
And he laughs. I see there's a Klingon fire in your belly, Lieutenant Commander, and I do not just mean the blood wine. I care little for life, having lived it for so long. It got old, and so did I. This mission to the Polmar Ree will serenade me to Stavacor with a bang, and will be heard across the galaxy. That Starfleet Academy of yours, Lieutenant Commander, did they teach you simple math? 20 beam-in points to the city, and 20 Klingon vessels invited to the wormhole, like 20 Trojan horses of old Earth mythology, each with a deadly payload in its belly. Oh, and the galaxy will never forget this day. Songs will be sung about the triumph of the Klingon Empire over the mighty Polmar Ree.
I think that Vulcan was right.
Yeah,
Wow,
apparently,
she was
yeah,
right.
wow, she was
Just
right.
a word of advice between you and I, my friend. Don't stand too close to the materialization chamber. Your uniform may get a little singe.
Hmm.
Yeah, we should probably report to the commander
Yeah,
about this.
let's
Yeah.
talk to Vulcan Chick.
Well done, guys. You got to do it first time.
Well, not quite, but
Well, I did.
Wow. I did it before, but... Yeah, it totally looks unsuspicious that we're running away from him now.
So when you get back up to the transparent floor bit, just stop by the fish tank and talk to the fish guy.
Oh, can we talk to him now?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
So is
yes, we
that-
can.
Is that because there's a interact object here, or is it because the eye doesn't show because he's in the water?
the eye doesn't.
Yeah,
He's
he's just a contact. The floating eye thing doesn't show. 'cause
Oh
he's in
yeah,
the
I can
tank.
see it. We're not.
I actually just saw it at a certain angle.
Okay, gooble blooby bloob.
Thank you for speaking to me.
No. Can you understand me?
Oh, yeah, there's another one.
Blue bloob.
I heard the lady in pink over there quite likes you.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Google gloob.
I'll leave you to it.
That's funny. Does that only show up after you talk to Liz?
What? That does only show up after you've talked to Liz, yeah. Lucky Liz, she's having fish for dinner.
Ooh, this
So
is
now we get
a
back to
rich
the-
bunker.
We get back to the star bit in the middle, and here's Georgia. She's moved, which I had to do by disappearing the piece of the floor that she was standing on and letting her drop, because you can't make contact.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so she's down on that lower floor now.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Or dead.
So the original one drops through, and then this new one spawns here.
That is a nice trick.
Vice Admiral, I take it you have news on the Klingons' plans. You may speak in front of Captain Don. Captain came to me after he became suspicious of the Klingons' intentions. There is one thing the Klingons are not. It's subtle.
We have to stop this. I return to the Kelso and attempt to open a dialogue with the Cleons. If we can resolve this by diplomacy, then we must do so. But I also want to have a backup plan. Vice Admiral, would you please take an away team to one of the Cleon ships? We need to find out what the hell they're planning to beam into the city.
Okay.
Of course. Thank you. Don DeKelso, I need you to beam the team to one of the Cleon vessels immediately.
Understood, sir. The Klingon flagship is the IKS Malga. It's at the beaming point near your current position. Her shields are down and she's beaming personnel to the interior of the city. I can beam Lieutenant Commander, can beam you to the Malga, but they'll have to return to the materialization chamber before I can get a lock.
Well, if there's anything to find, it'll be on the flagship. You heard her. Head back to the materialization chambers, team. I'll tell the Kelso to keep a continuous transporter lock on you while you're aboard the Moga. We'll pull you out of there at the first sign of trouble.
Okay, understood. Let's go.
So the annoying thing about this map is that there's a lot of running.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I was making it big to make it feel epic, but I think in hindsight I probably would have used shorter corridors here because these are quite long. But
I think it helps that there's a lot to look at. Like the different running races walking around, and just the design of the map really helps out with the making all the running around and stuff not feel as bad as if it was just a plain map with almost no NPCs.
Cool, good. I mean, I think I at this point I would never go back into this map to change it because there's so many objects. It would be a horrible task to try and redo it.
Okay, so they've got the transporter lock on our team, and we're ready to transport aboard the IKS Balga.
Okay, I've accepted that transfer. Should we play Bitesize UGC now?
Yes, it's probably about time to do that.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break and play Bitesize UGC for you. Okay.
Welcome to another edition of Bitesize UGC. I'm CaptPFDennis, and with me as always is RogueEnterprise. This week we take a bite out of STO's Foundry with a review of Locally Untranslated by Ogremerc. True to form, we begin with story.
The story in this mission is pretty straightforward. You must search for a missing diplomatic vessel in the Arcanus Arm by way of the Regulus system. Upon reaching the system, you immediately spot a derelict ship along with an alien vessel, both severely damaged. There, a mysterious alien race with a peculiar resemblance to the Fakiri makes itself known, and the resulting confusion takes both combat and diplomatic avenues to resolve.
This sort of first contact gone awry story has some merit, and there is even some humor worked in for good measure. While things ended up being a little bit more simplistic than we would have liked, things were solid and straightforward. Just a bit of additional explanation or plot intricacy would have been beneficial. We gave story 2.5 stars out of 5.
Now on to map design. We did not notice too much custom map making here. All the ship interiors were stock, though decorated with the appropriate props for a damaged vessel, including the oversized Galaxy Bridge, which we visited more than once, with some interesting changes in between each. We got the feeling that this author is new to the Foundry, and if that is true, he did a good job of setting the stage. We would have just liked to see more detail. We gave map design 3 out of 5 stars.
On to tech. Other than some props and special effects such as fire and plasma leaks, there really were no mechanics that dazzled us. However, there were also no rookie mistakes like forgetting to costume or name a UGC contact or alien ship. Everything was thought out and kept simple, a fact we both appreciated. We're giving tech 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Now difficulty. There were both interior and space battles in this mission, and the enemies were not overpowering, though they were not too easy to defeat either. All the battles were enjoyable and added to this very solid mission that seemed light and simple to get through. Overall, this author, if new to the Foundry, could have done far worse for a beginner. We gave difficulty 4 out of 5 stars.
And here's the Bitesize Breakdown to wrap up our review of Locally Untranslated by Ogremerc. Please support STO's Foundry by playing it yourselves.
Until next week, this has been Bitesize UGC.
Okay, so that was a brand new mission on Bitesize UGC by Ogremerc, so I recommend you check that out, and thanks for CaptPFDennis and RogueEnterprise for showcasing that to us. And now we are on a Klingon ship, the IKS Malga.
Time to shoot the place up.
Okay,
I'm
there
gonna
may be
shoot the,
explosives here, aren't there?
I'm gonna
Oh, yeah, good point.
logo.
We were at the ferry ground invasion the other day, and there's that big bird of prey on the surface. We managed to get up close to it and just started shooting at it, and we're wondering what the Klingons were thinking. It's just like, I think it was the most fun we were having in there until we actually did some of the missions.
Okay, according to the ship's cargo manifest, there's 600 barrels of blood wine, 350 crates of life medical supplies, engineering equipment, self-sealing stem bolts, various blades, disruptors and other hand weapons, some combat mines, and minor explosive grenades. Nothing really of that could be anything.
Okay, let's keep looking around.
Ooh.
Galactrix, do you have shadow set on high? Your graphics options?
Yeah, I do actually. It's pretty dark in here.
Because this, this interior is 100% custom built. So because all of these walls are objects, they all cast shadows and it gets really dark. If you switch to shadows on low, it actually looks a bit better.
Okay, I'll try that. Hold on.
Oh, there's a transporter operator behind here that we have to kill.
Just throw a plasma grenade, boom.
Alright.
See, what I really like about the ground combat in this is that was just one dude, and we're always used to like the standard 5-man teams and stuff. So it was really nice to just see like maybe 1 or 2-man teams in different maps.
Okay, so I accidentally triggered the wrong object and had Klingons beam in on these Klingons pads.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a story reason behind that, I believe, that they've been keeping a transporter lock on a lot of the people over there. So like those Klingon warriors, for example.
Which is explained here in this dialogue.
Here we go.
So I had to build these transporter pads out of tables because there isn't a transporter object.
Yeah, so a memory resident program that's on a countdown timer. Interesting.
Okay, so this is I think we've lost the dialogue, haven't we? But this is a pretty crucial bit because this explains, or starts to explain, what the Klingons are actually going to do to the Polmar Ree.
Yeah, so it's main engineering, something in main engineering that'll be beamed down to the planet.
Yeah, so you find out that there's some kind of memory resident program in the transporter systems, and it's functioning as a countdown timer. When it reaches 0, the transporter will lock onto something big in engineering and will beam it into the city.
So we better check that out then.
We better go investigate.
Buffing up is always good. Here we go, scanning engineering systems. Sir, it's the warp core. It's been fitted with transport enhancers. That's what the Klingons are planning to beam into the city. They're warp cores. At the exact moment the core is beamed out, it will be disconnected from the ship's plasma containment systems. Upon materialization in the city, the core will immediately lose containment and breach. We must assume that the other 19 Klingon vessels will also beam their warp cores into the city at the same time. No amount of advanced technology could withstand that. The combined force of 20 simultaneous warp core breaches would tear a hole in the subspace the size of a solar system. The Polmar Ree city and all visiting vessels will be destroyed in an instant.
You have to contact Captain Dawn.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We're being, some scrambled or incomplete transmission. Electrics, you want to read this?
Okay, it appears that the Klingons are aware of our presence, sir. They're jamming our transmission. According to my tricorder, they have also erected a transport inhibitor field. The Kelso will not be able to beam us back. Unless we find another way out of here, we're trapped.
What can we do about the attack on the Polmar Ree?
We could deactivate the transporter system here, but that would only take care of this ship. I doubt we could manage to infiltrate the other 19 ships to do the same. However, there is a chance we could send a signal to deactivate the countdown timers on the 20 ships simultaneously. We would need to know the base codes of the 20 ships. I suggest we attempt to access a computer control junction on this deck. From there we'll be able to access computer library files and should be able to hijack the Malga communication systems to send a signal to the other ships.
Agreed.
So we're gonna do some Klingon hacking. Now this chamber looks more Klingon-y to me. This section anyway. Aha.
Sleeping Klingon. I've obtained the base codes of the other ships. However, it appears the Klingons have deactivated systems across this ship as a security measure, including the communication system. There is no way for us to get a signal to the other ships from here.
Sir, I scanned this deck and there's a turbo lift south of our current location. My tricorder indicates that the transport inhibitor field extends across this deck and several decks above and below us. However, it does not extend beyond that. If we could gain access to the turbo lift, we may be able to get to a deck outside the inhibitor field. The USS Kelso would then be able to beam us out of here.
Okay, agreed.
So I put in this inebriated Klingon here in this room just to the reason you were able to hack into their computer is because the guy got drunk and fell asleep.
Oh, the Klingons.
Oh, nice, a window. Okay, the turbo lift's
nice
to our
time.
right, but the doors have been sealed. There's no way to get in unless the cargo manifest indicated that the ship is carrying some ground combat explosives. We could be able to blast the doors. We could use those to blast through the doors. I'm scanning the deck, and there are some explosives in what appears to be an armory next to main engineering.
Okay, so go back and try to get access to the armory.
You know, I'm actually kind of glad I just remembered this now because I'm working on a mission where I have to use some spatial charges eventually, and I could get nobody to answer where do I find the spatial charges. So where do you find that?
They only come with a crate option.
They only do?
I think
you have
it's
to-
crate number
in the Foundry,
5.
You have to search for one of the crates plural objects, and it has a box, and it has about 3 or 4 of these ground charges. So I only wanted 1 or 2, so I had to hide the rest of it inside some of these other crates here.
So you're able to take these crates then because there's another crate set without the explosives?
No, just use these other crates to hide the store crates. It's store crates number 5, I believe.
Oh, well
yeah,
done,
that's
bag.
I suggest we move well clear before detonating the charges. Unfortunately, my tricorder shows that the turbolift carriage has been deactivated and still several decks above us. There's no way to reach it. Sounds like someone turned on the explosives. Anyway, we need to jump into the turbolift shaft, and we'll plummet downwards, passing through the bottom of the inhibitor field.
Boom.
Oh, who did that? Somebody blew it up already.
Let's get out of here.
Uh-oh.
Run!
Energize. Oh, I hit the bomb and died.
I think it was Irish who was saying he wanted to try to play this and see if he could actually hit the bottom. Oh crap, and there's some Cleon warriors down here.
I'm still alive, but I changed level.
I had 1 HP left. That was a nice touch though,
Yeah.
falling down a turbulent shaft.
Yeah, I heard about that. Free
It's a
fall.
very different way.
It doesn't work terribly well as a team because the first person hits the reach marker that triggers the dialogue. And maybe the other people haven't jumped yet, but I don't know. I think if you're playing as a single player, it works pretty well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
there's a lot of things that don't quite work well when you're in a group with a Foundry. Reach markers and
Yeah.
act
I mean,
object things.
the annoying thing is that I built an interior sort of 1,400 meters above one of the clearing maps. And the turbolift shaft goes all the way, or almost all of the way down to the bottom. So you're falling sort of maybe 1,200 meters and you don't die if you hit the bottom. It's so annoying. So I had to just chuck an NPC group in there to shoot you as soon as you hit the bottom.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad your bridge officer is healing us all.
Because if you do hit the bottom and you don't die, then there'd be no way to escape. There'd be no way to trigger the respawn. So I had to put some Klingons in there to shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, welcome back, Vice Admiral / Lieutenant Commander. I trust you're still in one piece. Apologies for bringing you back on the cargo transporter, but we're using all available transporters to pull our people out of the city. My diplomatic efforts with the Klingons were unsuccessful. Did you have any luck on the Malga?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh.
Lieutenant, Vice Admiral, we are under attack. The Klingons are bombarding the ship. The bridge is heavily damaged and Captain Don has been critically injured. Admiral Hawk is moving the USS Galaxy to intercept the Klingon ships.
So we're telling you what we discovered?
We must stop the Klingons before they beam their warp cores into the city. We're taking heavy damage and the turbo lifts are not functioning. Please proceed to the mess hall near the cargo bay. I believe a triage facility is being set up to treat the wounded. I'll reroute communication system control to the mess hall. This will allow you to send the signal to deactivate the countdown timers on the Klingon ships.
Great, more explosions. Damn Klingons. Oh, debris. Damn it. This one or the next one? Oh. Jumping over the plasma fire.
Oh my gosh, now there's 2 Ally Max here.
Yeah, I'm lying on the table injured. I'm one of the background characters in the scene.
Oh, that's funny. Okay,
well, I'll read this. Good to see you again. Commander Georgia has brought me up to date. I understand you plan to stop the Klingons from destroying the Polmar Ree city.
That's correct.
What if the Klingons are right, Talar? Did you think about that? Perhaps the Polmar Ree are really an unacceptable threat. They give knowledge and technology to races who are not yet ready for it. Some of them are currently at war with the Federation. How do we know those races won't use Polmar Ree technology to wage a war, to destroy the lives of millions?
Ambassador Rogan, the entire surviving Polmar Ree population resides within the space city. If the city is destroyed, the Polmar Ree will become extinct. What the Klingons are planning is genocide.
So time's running out. If we are to stop the countdown timers and therefore the Klingon attack, we must send the signal now.
Understood.
Okay, Baz, you want to continue with the...
Yep. Consider what I've said. Can we really trust our enemies to behave responsibly with advanced Polmar Ree technology? In the wrong hands, it could be used to destroy thousands of worlds, trillions of lives. How can we allow the Polmar Ree to wield that kind of power over us and our galactic neighbours? The decision you make now will affect the future evolution and survival of every species in the Milky Way galaxy.
No, this sounds cool. It's a choice that will affect the decision of whatever. Yeah, send the signal and stop the Klingon attack, or do nothing and allow the Klingons to proceed. So...
Very nice touch.
Well, we've only got questions whether people will or not. They're still very vague and...
We can't let them wipe out a whole species.
Yeah, we can't let them wipe out a whole species, but the Polmar Ree technology may be used for any number of purposes. We can't be certain that they will be used to attack.
Mm-hmm. And even if they are, you can't justify killing billions of people with this. There might be another way to be reached.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying send the signal.
Yep.
What about you, Galactrix?
I'm inclined to send the signal, although I am interested to see what happens if you don't send the signal. Did you test this out on the Foundry files? Did someone test the other option?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it.
I know. I'm just really
Okay,
curious.
so we'll send the signal and let our viewers themselves see what happens when nothing is...
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's send the signal. Okay, we're
sending the signal. Confirmed.
So,
the signal has
Galactrix,
been sent, sir.
Just make sure you're facing the window for this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, face the window.
Window.
The countdown timers on the Klingon vessels will have been deactivated. The Polmar Ree are safe.
Ooh. Why is the ambassador counting down?
Because he's evil and he's planned it with the Klingons.
Ah.
Yep, the city just blew up. Ambassador, what did you do?
Should I read
No!
No.
Do you want me to read this bit?
Yeah, you read
Yeah,
it.
go ahead. This part really
Okay,
had my
I'll
jaw drop when I first played this. It was just like, whoa.
The city's gone.
Okay, so
I'll read this.
do you want me to read this bit? The ambassador has to explain what he's done.
You're doing it.
I couldn't allow you to disrupt the Klingon attack. When Edge told me about their plan, and with your excursion to the Klingon flagship, I knew you must be trying to intervene. But the Polmar Ree were too big a threat to our galaxy. The Klingons recognized that. They were willing to put aside their own desire for advanced technology in order to eliminate the threat, for the good of the entire galaxy. I ensured they succeeded. Have you ever met the Kelti? No, of course you haven't, because they destroyed themselves 200 years ago. But I have. I met them here, 216 years ago, charming people, artists and scholars. They took Polmar Ree knowledge home with them, the schematics for an omega molecule reactor. Within 2 decades their solar system was destroyed, the entire species wiped out, the sector impassable, quarantined. All of these numbers, these myths and legends surrounding the Polmar Ree. 216, 666, gods or devils, is there a difference? One man's healer is another man's executioner. They say power corrupts, and the Polmar Ree handed power to anyone who came and asked for it. A developing society learns how to handle power only when it appreciates the weight of responsibility and consequences power brings. That appreciation is earned by the blood, folly and sacrifice of 100 generations. Is it any wonder that those who have power handed to them on a plate are led by it to their own destruction? The Polmar Ree had no right to act as gods and powermongers in a galaxy they deserted eons ago.
You had no right to
I don't think he had the right to
genocide.
commit genocide.
Okay, let's click that one then. Okay, the city of the
See, the
Polmar
Polmar Ree
Ree.
has been destroyed.
What happened down there?
What happened down there?
I don't know.
I happen, Commander. The player attempted to interfere with the Klingons' plan to eradicate Polmar Ree, but I ensure the plan proceeds to completion. General Order 24 gives Federation captains and flag officers the authority to destroy all life on a planet when said life poses an active threat towards the Federation. That order justifies my actions.
That will be for your court-martial to decide, Ambassador. Vice Admiral, please return to your ship. The wormholes leading back to the Milky Way galaxy remain open at present, but we do not know how long they will persist now that Polmar Ree have been destroyed. Security, escort Ambassador Reagan to the brig.
You know, one small thing I would have liked at this point was to have actually a few security team beam around the ambassador.
Well, actually, they
They're
beamed in with the Vulcan chick.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I see.
Yeah, you
behind
see
there.
him now, don't you?
I just see him now behind them. But there, anyway. Okay, I was wrong.
Okay, shall we energize? Energize.
It's not every day you get to hear me admit that.
So I wasn't
And it's
expecting.
recorded,
I wasn't
too.
expecting that city to blow up. Hmm.
Yeah, same. That's why I was just like, whoa. Oh.
So,
Like, I didn't know what was going on until that guy counted to two. I was like, oh no, he isn't.
Yeah. Well, it's an
Yeah.
interesting
I've
kind
had
of
some-
concept.
Mhm.
I've had some
And the trick
reviews
there is,
saying... Sorry, I've had some reviews saying that they really hate that ending. That the mission was superb up to that point, but they really hated it. But I always wanted it to be a sort of unpalatable ending, so that the city was always going to be destroyed.
Mm.
I mean, I'm a huge DS9 fan. I'm sort of a 9 or above
Yeah.
anything else. And they often did episodes that ended badly.
Yeah.
and
it
I
just
think
sort
that
of
was
left
one of
you-
the great parts of the show.
Mm.
Yeah, it
Especially
just
for
left you
like
thinking,
stories that
"My
make you
God."
think afterwards, like this one does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first time I realised that DS9 was going to be like that was in the first season when Kira has to go to one of Bajor's moods and convince an old guy to leave so that they can tap it for energy. And the
Yeah,
way that she
and-
resolves that is she burns his house down at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I remember that one.
which-
That's good.
You know, which is not that,
And then they had
that is not the way that TNG would ever have ended that story.
No.
they would
Yeah, same
never
with the one with the Cardassian that was in the brig, and then he was pretending to be the bad guy just to atone
Yeah.
for the Cardassian crimes. And then Kira goes, we're not going to have any more deaths for that. And she releases him, but at the end he still gets stabbed, and it was just like, wow. Just because you wouldn't have expected that just to happen. It was just one of those endings that made you think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they're sort of
exactly.
downers, but they do make you think so much more.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
think
plus
that's right.
it's kind of also a Foundry limitation because there's no branching objectives.
Yeah.
So you could only have either the city survived or the city died. And you did it in a nice way because the player still is allowed to try to save the city.
Yeah, and make their own choice whether to actively participate in actively try to save it or just be passive in letting it happen.
Yep, because either way it was going to get destroyed anyway, but the player doesn't know that.
Okay, so do you want me to read this last dialogue then, just to finish off the mission?
Yeah, just
Okay, so 6 days have passed since the destruction of Polmar Ree city. Federation Task Force has returned to the Milky Way galaxy and is currently under quarantine in the Donatu system while Starfleet Intelligence conducts an investigation into the events. So, we're being hailed by the USS Kelso.
set the hail.
Okay.
Hello, Vice Admiral. Starfleet Intelligence has completed its investigation of the circumstances surrounding the destruction of the Polmar Ree city. We are satisfied that you could not have done anything to prevent it. Ambassador Reagan modified the communication terminal in his quarters on the Kelso to transmit a continuous reactivation signal for the Klingon countdown timers. In the event the timers were disabled, his signal would immediately reactivate them. He must have had an accomplice in the Klingon fleet, somebody willing to give him the base codes of the Klingon ships. Sadly, we are unlikely to discover who that was. If you have no further questions, Vice Admiral, you are free to return to sector space at your convenience. And then we do have a series of questions that we can ask,
Hmm.
or we can leave.
Well, I'm gonna one question. What became of the other visiting ships?
Okay, all governments we have been able to contact report no fatalities and no ships lost. It seems that at the exact moment the Klingon warp cores breached inside the Polmar Ree city, all visiting representatives were beamed back to their ships. Somehow the effects of the warp core breaches were contained within the city, and there was no damage to the surrounding space or any visiting ship. I believe we may have the Polmar Ree themselves to thank for that. USS Galaxy was heavily damaged while defending the Kelso from the Klingons, but she will be overhauled and returned to service. I believe Admiral Hawke has volunteered her as a testbed for the Venture refit. Captain Doan is recovering from the injuries he suffered during the Klingon attack on the Kelso, and will soon return to active duty. As for the Klingon ships, without warp cores they were left adrift and powerless. Some reports suggest they were towed home by the Nyborite Alliance, but that is unconfirmed.
So interesting, no one really died apart from the Polmar Ree.
Mm-hmm.
Did they?
I think we should ask the question. Yeah, are the Polmar Ree gone forever?
The Polmar Ree apparently managed to contain the effects of the warp core breaches to protect the visiting ships. They were also able to ensure that the transient wormholes remained open long enough to allow us to return home. I would hope that with such advanced technology, they may have somehow been able to save themselves as well. Only time will tell.
Okay, so that's all the questions I want to ask.
Yeah, I think we should save some for the audience to find out for themselves.
I definitely know on Foundry Files the whole team was debating over what was the right choice to make and were the Polmar Ree really gone or not, and I think we went on for quite a bit about that. And I don't know if the Polmar Ree are really gone or not. I'm kind of leaning to both sides right now.
Well,
You
won't know until 216 years passed.
That's true.
It's a textbook nebulous ending whether there is no answer whether they are here or not, and it's just you just you can't be certain either way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that for spending the month it took to create that mission for us.
Yes. Thank you, AdmiralMurphy, for
Thank
making
you.
the city of the Polmar Ree. That was episode 10 of Broadcast UGC. I'd like to thank AdmiralMurphy for joining us again. It's always fun to have you on as a guest. And so...
It's been the podcast couple of weeks. First we had Ogremerc on last week and Captain and Admiral Murphy this week. We just need someone from Priority 1.
Yeah, actually they need to review this mission now, and then you get the podcast hat trick where you've got all of them reviewing the mission.
I definitely think they'll be hitting that because this is a really good mission. I think a lot of people are hitting this one right now just because of the 4-month production time.
Now, is that 4 months? Does that include the Foundry downtime when it was broken?
It does, yeah. So it took 4 months probably from start to finish, but the Foundry was down for probably 30 or even maybe 50% of that time. So it maybe wouldn't have taken quite so long if the Foundry had been available. And when it did come back, there was a bug for a long time where we couldn't preview maps. I mean, that was a killer. And the component complete thing, which only got fixed about 2 weeks ago, and then I published.
Yeah, I'm glad they finally fixed it enough so that you could publish it and then get this out for everyone to play. It's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I built the mission around that bug, so it would have worked even if they didn't fix that. But the side stuff, the decoration stuff, like in the Arboretum where you can go and read about the plants and things, that wouldn't have worked without that fix in place.
Okay, well, I think that's it from us this week, so I'm going to sign off and say bye. How about you, Bazag?
Yes, it's been a pleasure.
We don't have a mission plan for next week. We might try and look for something Klingon, because we haven't actually
We do have a letter from Grimsy from the Starbase chat room, UGC chat room that he sent us. His espionage mission.
Is that the one that they
we may
reviewed? Is that the one that they reviewed on Podcast UGC before? I can't remember the name.
I remember hearing about it on this week's.
Yeah.
The name espionage I recognize. So they might have reviewed it a couple of episodes ago.
It's that one
I
with
don't-
the poster by Hughes, who was on the show before as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be an interesting one to play. I'm gonna we'll investigate that and just get back to you on that. So if anyone else wants to contact us, they can tweet us on Twitter at broadcastugc, or they can email us at broadcastugc@starbaseugc.com.
This has been another episode of Broadcast UDC.
And we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.